find all exact solutions in the interval 0 to 2 pi for this equation. Okay, we see right away that we have a mix of trig functions involved in this equation. And we have sine squared on one side, cosine to the first power on the other. We would definitely like to have all of this in terms of the same trig function. And it should come immediately to mind that you have a trig function, or sorry, a Pythagorean identity, sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1. Right? That ties sine squared and cosine squared together in a way that I can solve this for sine squared, substitute for sine squared here, and then everything is in terms of cosine. Right? Sine squared equals 1 minus cosine squared x. So 2 times 1 minus cosine squared x equals 2 plus cosine x. 2 minus 2 cosine squared x equals 2 plus cosine of x. Okay, we need to get everything on one side, 0 on the other, because ultimately this is going to be a factoring problem of some kind. I can see right now that if I subtract 2 from both sides, right, the 2's are gone. And now if I get everything on one side, if I add this 2 cosine squared x to both sides, then what I have is that 0 equals 2 cosine squared x plus cosine of x. Remember, you can't divide through by cosine of x, because if you do, you're going to lose a solution. Instead, the idea is to get all your terms on one side equal to 0, and then factor. Right? There's a common factor in both of these terms of cosine of x. 0 equals cosine x times 2 cosine x plus 1 plus 1. Right? So by zero product property, we know either cosine x equals 0 or 2 cosine x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, if cosine x equals 0, then we know that x must be between 0 and 2 pi, which is the given domain here. It must be that x equals pi over 2 or 3 pi over 2. Right? That, a little bit of a knowledge of the unit circle, and you should know that. Right? This one I can solve. Subtract 1, divide by 2. Cosine of x equals negative 1/2. Right? Where on the unit circle does cosine equal negative 1/2? Well, let's see. I find it useful to draw myself a unit triangle or a unit circle. Cosine is negative 1/2. The x-coordinate is negative 1/2. That's the 1/2 less than the root 3 over 2. It means that the absolute value of the x-coordinate is less than the y. Right? It's further away in the y direction than it is in the x direction. So, you know, this is going to be the negative 1/2. Right? It would be negative root 3 over 2 here, negative 1/2 here. This angle, in terms of radians, would be 2 pi over 3. Right? This would be 4 pi over 3. Again, you got to know your unit circle. X equals 2 pi over 3, 4 pi over 3. Right? Those are all the solutions between 0 and 2 pi.